Well, this has been one of those very, very busy years, and I haven't been able to do much YouTube stuff. Thank God my cars are reliable. Anyway, the ML350 is getting a front push bumper, or bull bar, whatever you want to call it. Same type of thing. This is an aftermarket one that was on this ML, the 2001 ML. And this is an original Mercedes one that I got at the wrecking yard for a whole 25 bucks. This was an $1,800 option, which I don't know if that included the running boards, like the sidebars or not. But when I Googled it, it was like an $1,800 option back in 2005. Those are the mounting brackets for it. I just painted those, and we're going to be installing it. And it takes, because there's some big holes that need to be drilled in the bumper to install this one, it's not just a bolt-on type of thing. You have to remove the front bumper. So, and then drill a couple of, well, 63 millimeter, 2.5-inch holes for little grommets, these grommets up there, that the bars go through, come through the bumper. Anyway, first thing, remove the bumper. I'm gonna get some stuff together and back in a minute. Okay, first thing we're gonna do is remove the fog lights and the center, the lower grille, the one that just goes above the license plate. I think I'm gonna paint that silver to match the front grille anyway. And to remove the fog lights, very simple. You just need a flathead screwdriver. And you'll look and see behind one of these little holes, you'll see a little flat plastic tab. And you just push that backwards. And then gently, I'm going to use this bent screwdriver. Come on. Is that back far enough? There's just a little lock. There we go. Come on. And that releases the fog light. Pull this side out first, and slide the other side out, and unplug. Same for the other side, and then we're going to remove this grill, which you just need like something hooked. Actually, you can get, if your finger's small enough, you can get it in there and just pull. It just pulls out, just gently. Pop it out all along, and it just has these little clips that hold it in. And then actually, when we get to the other side, you can see this little black tab here, and this is the one you push to release the fog lamp. Now back behind there's a couple of bolts on each side that are going to hold the bumper in. I think there are 2, 4, 6, 8 bolts holding the bumper in. Anyway, we're going to unplug the fog light back here and be back in a few minutes. And I think I'm going to polish these fog light lenses out while I'm up. Anyway, back in a minute. Okay, so there's 6 bolts to take off for the front of the bumper. There's going to be 2 on the sides as well. There's 1 straight back under here, 1 in the middle here, 1 in the middle here, straight back under here, 2 at the bottom. They're all 10 millimeter. Loose. I blasted all these with WD-40 a couple weeks ago, knowing that I was going to be doing this, just to make sure. These things can rust and snap on you. I'm just going to get the two bottom ones. Put this down and show you where they are. Right. Oh, what the? Oh, that one's popped through. So there's a bottom bolt there. So this bumper's been off at some point because someone didn't put the bumper bolt back in properly, the bottom one. And oh, same on the other side. It's actually got a broken bolt. Great. So those two don't even need to come off. But anyway, they do need to come off if yours isn't broken. And the last two are up, right up under here, under your fender well. There's a 10mm bolt there that goes straight up. So those two need to come off. And then we can slide the bumper out. And I'll pop the hood as well. Back in a minute. Actually, in order to get some more wiggle room with my bumper, I'm just going to take these two little trim tabs off by the lights. And you see there's a little clip there. You stick your finger in, push down on the bottom one, pull up with the top one. It'll pop out, it rotates. Come off. Just, there we go. Don't yank on it. You'll break these two little fingers off. So just to get some more wiggle room with the bumper when it's pulling off, I don't want to break anything. And I'll pull that off. Take those two little bumper, the two bolts above the fender, or below the fender, I'll take those two off, and we'll be back in a minute. Okay, and the last two bolts are right here. Two 10mm bolts. Hopefully you can see those. They're on the inside lip of the front bumper, right down here, inside. And hopefully these ones don't snap. Let's hope. Son of a... Okay. Well, there's one. I'm assuming the other is going to break too. Oh, no, that one's good. Anyway, last two. I broke both on the other side. I had hosed them down with WD-40 as well. I completely forgot about these two bolts when I was first stating which bolts to remove in the video. These 4 bolts. Anyway, I'm going to take this other one off, then we're going to pull the bumper cover off. Okay, time to, ooh, really zoomed in. Pull the bumper cover off. Those last 2 bolts were pulled out. You need something nice and soft to lay it on, like a blanket. Never throw away or allow your parents or grandparents, anybody, to throw away old blankets and sheets and stuff. Just keep them because you're going to need them in the garage at some point. So let's hopefully, we've got everything. Oh, I just disconnected the temperature sensor here. Where's the wire? There's the plug. Plug here that we need to unplug. There we go. Oh, there's the temperature sensor. Just popped out of its little slot. But this one, that plug that we just unplugged there goes to both fog lights. Hopefully. There we go. Sit that down on my blanket. And first things first, I'm going to get these old bolts out of here that snapped off and replace them. What do they look like on the other side? Okay. Oh, lovely. Okay, so it just goes in and then slides to adjust up and down in this hole, I guess. Yeah. All right, so I'll pop these off. Put some new bolts through there, try to drill those out, and be back in a minute to cut our bumper. Actually, first I'm going to go around here in any of these rusty areas on the bumper. I'm going to spray paint. Why not? Anyway, yeah, back in a minute. Okay, so these old rusty brackets, they're in there quite good. There's two little fingers on this side. You kind of have to pry over and then push back on the metal plate. So pry these little fingers, you can see them, and then you push back past the little finger. So you pry it over and, let's see if we can do this with one hand. Push, pry, and push. And it should pop out. Got the other ones out that way without wrecking anything. Okay, I'm going to keep fighting with it, and then they just pop in from the back. They do snap in quite easy. I tried the one unbroken one. So on these broken ones, I'm just going to grind out that bolt in the middle, and then get another bolt that, well, it doesn't really matter what size it is as long as I've got a nut for the other side. With a big washer, it's like a fender washer. Where's the one that came off? Well, this one. So you'll need a couple of these fender washers for the broken bolts. Back in a bit. Okay. Now you're going to take your brackets. They go angled inward. There's 3 holes in the bumper here. Simply pop through. This is the factory one, so that's how the factory one works. And this one, shaped like this, it goes down also, and then the mount bolt, the mounting stud goes down, and this goes on the 3rd bolt there, the long one on the bottom. Hopefully you saved all your washers and nuts when you got yours off of the wreckers or wherever you got it. And I'm just going to bolt. Where did I put my nuts? Where's my nuts? I'm going to bolt these on. Just got to get a proper size socket. I think they're 12s. Back in a sec. Okay, no, the factory ones are 13s. So. Okay, so you can see where they all bolt on back in there. 1, 2, 3, the top one. And this bottom bracket follows. It kind of, when you push it into place, it kind of locks right there underneath the bumper. Where's the other one? This little hip on it kind of locks underneath. So same thing for the other side. We're going to bolt those in, and I'm not sure if that's lined up properly. Kind of hard to tell. Those holes are a little bigger than the posts going through. I am assuming I should probably line it up to that hole. So I'm going to line it up to that hole, see if I can, and then retighten it. Okay, lined up with the bolt holes. The factory manual is a little vague on that. I did fix those 3 little broken brackets. That was the original one. And I just took bolts. I have, or nuts for the other side, and I'll use washers, and I just tack welded them with a MIG welder so they don't move. Plenty of room behind this mount, so the size of the bolt or whatever you put in there, the bolt head doesn't really matter much. So now I'm going to flip the bumper over and start measuring. The factory manual does give the measurements, so I'm going to flip that over, check the manual, make sure I've got them right, because I don't want to start drilling holes. You're also going to need a 2.5 inch hole saw or 63 millimeter. That is the size. So back in a minute. Okay, we got an 2001 W203 Mercedes C230. It's actually my old C230 that I sold to a friend a couple of years ago when I got that ML. It's kind of a hazmat scene now. I don't think he's cleaned it since I sold it to him. I doubt. Anyway, he's broken the window switch somehow. I don't know how you do that, but whatever. I have a replacement, and we are going to swap that in. And anything in there? No mice, no nothing. Take off the door lock knob, and then grab a couple of screwdrivers. Why is this on so tight? Screwdrivers and a plastic pry tool. You'll need T15, I think, and a T25. I'll grab them and I'll remember once I grab them. Anyway, off just unscrews, and be back. Oh, that sounds good. You're supposed to oil stuff. Anyway, back in a minute. Almost forgot. Don't forget to remove your license plate mount. 2 8 Phillips headed screws. Just holding it on. This is going to bolt to the front of that plastic bracket on the brush bar. And now I'm going to lay it out and measure it. I think it's 195 millimeters. There's directions on the manual. Anyway, I will lay it out with masking tape and be back in a few minutes. Okay, piece of masking tape between the bumper, the license plate mounting holes, the mounting holes, straight across, and you're going to measure. What was it? 370 millimeters. Make a line, then 155 millimeters down. Make a line. X marks the spot. Same on the other side. Total distance from here to here is 975 millimeters. So measure 6 times, mark it, and make sure you get it right. And then we're going to be getting a 2.5 inch hole saw and making a hole right dead center there. Back in a minute. Sorry, I might not have been too exact on the 155 millimeter. It's from here, the top of the opening there, straight down. So this there to there is 155 millimeters. The top opening there and down 155. And from this line to the license plate mount hole on this side is 370. Same on the other side. Back in a sec. Just getting the camera set up so you can see me hopefully not wreck it. I got the hole started, so I had to change the batteries. Let's hope this is the right spot. Okay, fear factor times 10. Because if these aren't in the right spot, this is going to look like shit. I guess I'll have to put fog lights in there if they are. Hopefully that matches up with these two suckers. Anyway, so I'm just going to take a file and I'm going to clean up all these plastic shavings and stuff around the hole. Just clean that up and get the tape off. We'll be ready to put our bumper back on. Okay, the repaired bolt mounts are all back in. They just pop in from the back and snap in. You got to push them in this side, the bottom side, and then the two little fingers, they pop up above those and go behind and hold it in. Deburred the holes. Just used a file and ran it around the outside until it took all the burrs off, and then checked the hole size with the rubber grommet. Checked it from the outside, but anyway, inside proper size. And it's now time to put the bumper back on, opposite of removing. And once that's back, hey, I didn't I didn't know I had a block heater for the winter time. What do you know? Anyway, I'm gonna put this back on and then we'll finish up with the full bull bar. Okay, I had to continue this the next day because I had a dinner party to go to and I wasn't quite finished and I didn't want to rush it. And there's a couple things I had to alter. The bottom brackets, these ones here that pop through, I guess they were a little bent from the wrecking yard from maybe their forklift picking it up or whatever. So I had to pull those off again and rebend them so they were straight up and down, so they come out of the little hole on the bottom there. And other than that, the bumper's back on. And thank God my little arms stick out of the holes properly. And now you're gonna just, again, if you've got the factory one, this little pin here sits into that notch back there, sits on top of it. And then the bolt, which is in, well, these ones are Allen headed. It could be different on all of them, but anyway, this one's an Allen headed and it's a T40. It's actually looks like it was originally Allen head and then someone used a Torx, so I'm gonna have to use a Torx again. T40. And just bolt through. Make sure you put the little rubber grommets over first. And they fit over and cover the hole like that. They kind of bend toward the inside. That would be wrong, and that would be right. So this little fin wing sticks to the outside. So I'm going to bolt that on, and then I'll show you the bottom ones after I get the two top ones on. Okay, now lower mounts. The top ones were bolted in. The lower ones you kind of have to loosen and then wiggle around to get them to match up. At the bottom, right here where they come through the bumper, again, mine was in a wrecking yard, so I think what happened is, I don't know, they picked the car up with a forklift or something at some point, and like there's nothing, no marks on the bull bar, but these mounts were all bent in the wrong position, so I had to put them on, pull them off, put them on, pull them off like a million times. I left the one 13mm bolt at the top that holds it in that we showed when I was initially putting it on. I loosened that, moved it around, and then that big long 40mm Allen bolt goes through the bottom, through this tube and bolts up top. And once that's all on there, tighten it down and it's good to go. Just have to find a way to stretch out these rubber boots because they've collapsed over the years, I guess. And that's about it. Putting it back together now. Put the grill back on, put the fog lights back on, and bolt the license plate mount on. It looks like it broke here. I don't know if this is a separate part I can order or not. I'll have to look and see if this part's separate from the dealership. But it looks like it broke where the old one was bolted on. I'll probably just tap some new screws in there and bolt that on, but it does fit perfectly on there. Anyway, that's about it. Thank you for watching. I'll just take a quick picture and show you when it's all put back together. All right, so finally all done. Took about 6 hours, actually, just because of the fiddling with bending stuff. That was the whole problem, bent mounts. That was the biggest fiddle. And that plastic mount that was broken on the license plate mount for the bar. I actually called my dealership, gave them the part number that was on the back. No longer available. So I had to get some plastic epoxy and kind of build it back up and make it work. So other than that, I like it. I think it looks nice. Oh, and I did paint my lower grille silver. I don't even know if you noticed or not. It's hard to tell, that one's in shadow. But yeah, anyway, thanks for watching.